Okay, this is a video that I'm making on how to restring a 150-pound crossbow. This is a very inexpensive crossbow. Probably buy this for somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 to $100, and uses a fiberglass limb all the way across. Now these particular units, they use a plastic end cap. You can see one on here. Other side, I'm actually missing the end cap because when the string broke, this end cap broke with it. So I went ahead and left the old one on because, you know, this is an item that you don't have to replace. It's not bad. I'll just make sure it's properly seated on there and it's good to go. You probably bought a package, kind of looks like this. Most of the string packages you get online have two more of the plastic end pieces and the string for the crossbow. Make sure it's, you know, the right weight for the crossbow that you're going to use. Now the trick to restringing one of these heavier crossbows like this is you need to have a stringing string. Okay, now a stringing string, if you lay it up against the normal string, which is the shorter one here, you'll notice it's slightly longer. Okay, and that'll become evident why that's necessary as we go along. But you can't just use another 150-pound crossbow string. It has to be a slightly longer string. You can see, roughly 1.5 to 2 inches longer. If you don't have a stringing string, there's places you can buy them on eBay. If you have an old string, you can take a broken string and splice in a small piece, you know, just by tying it together, and make your own stringing string out of a broken string. I've seen guys make these out of cables, you know, really thin cable, like a 1/8 inch cable, and they'll make it so that it's there again about 1.5 inches. The only thing about a stringing string is when you put it on, you want to be able to hook it over both ends without putting any tension on the limb. That's the big thing, but you don't want it too loose either, or else it won't do the job. So we've got our stringing string. There again, told you where you can get those. I'm going to go ahead. I've got one of these packages already open. I'm going to stick a new end on this broken end. So I'll just get it on there, and you want to make sure that it's firmly in place. A little plastic, you know, screwdriver, a little rubber mallet. Just make sure that it's firmly seated. If it's slightly off of that limb, when you put the new string on, it'll break. So I'll make sure that's properly seated. We'll kind of double check this one too. Okay, so those are on there. All right, so step number one is we want to take the actual archery string, the new string that we purchased. I'll make sure that's the short one. And we want to stick it on the end of one of these plastic ends. You know, pretty straightforward there. Then on that same end, we're going to take the stringing string, which is the slightly longer string, and we're going to stick it over the top of that. Now it's really critical that you do it in that order. The string, the new string, the actual crossbow string on the bottom, the stringing string on top on this side. Okay? So we basically have like two strings set up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run this across the stringing string, and we're going to hook it on the other end. You can easily tell you've got the stringing string because you don't have to flex anything. You get that locked on the end. All right? So we've got the real string on one end, hooked up below. The stringing string coming across, hooked up on both ends. This is on the outside here. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cock the crossbow like so. So now this is the stringing string that's been cocked. Now I'm going to take the original string, and this is probably the only really tricky part of the whole thing. On this end where this isn't hooked up yet, I'm going to stick it through this little V, through the middle of the stringing string. That make sense? Can you see that good enough? Get the angle right? Okay, so it's through that. And once it's through that, I'm going to wrap the crossbow string over the top of the stringing string on this side. Now remember, it's on the bottom here when we originally set it up, but it goes over the top of the stringing string here, quite frankly, because that's the only place that you can be able to get it on. Okay. So once you have it set up like that, this is the actual crossbow string. It's slack now. The stringing string is tied, it's cocked into the firing position, and this was put through and mocked over the top. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fire the crossbow, except got to make sure the safety's off. Alright, so now the stringing string is loose, and the actual crossbow string is now locked onto the limbs. On this end, where the stringing string was over the top, we just simply pull it off. It comes off real easily. On this end, the stringing string is actually underneath the crossbow string a little bit. Because it was on the bottom before, it was the only thing to make this work. So what we're going to do, we'll take a screwdriver or something, and we'll just pry it out of there. Real slowly, real gently. There we go. So you can see now that the crossbow string is, properly set up through the grooves on each side. And now, the crossbow string is strung. Didn't have to, wedge down, didn't have to use any kind of fancy vices or anything like that. The stringing string is the key to being able to put this thing together. And so, if you have a 150-pound crossbow, get a stringing string. It will save you tons and tons of heartache restringing your bows when you have to. And there again, you can make them by taking an old regular crossbow string and lengthening it just slightly. The only requirement is that stringing string should be able to go over both ends of the crossbow while the limb is relaxed. And then cock it and do just like I showed you. So that's how we use a stringing string to string up a 150-pound crossbow without any breakage.